We are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Miazga with the American Supply Association, back again with another one of our ASA Town Hall interview sessions. For the past couple of months, we've been kind of taking you inside ASA member companies to see how they are navigating the COVID-19 pandemic. Starting last week, we kind of shifted gears a little bit, focusing not so much on the effect of the pandemic, but how companies are coming out of the pandemic, what they've learned, and what they're kind of seeing in changes in business. We're going to go back to the showroom topic this week, and joined by a couple of folks from the AD Buying Group's Decorative Brands Division. Katie Poehling-Seymour is the COO of First Supply's Kitchen and Bath Stores. Nice to see you as always, Katie.
Hi, Mike.
And Jeff Heksh, COO Crawford Supply out of the Chicago suburbs. Jeff, nice to see you again.
Good seeing you, Mike.
All right, let's jump right into it. What are, from the showroom side of things, what are business conditions like right now? What's changed? Give me a snapshot, like the last 2 weeks, last month. What's been the big difference in your businesses right now, Katie?
Yeah, so everybody knows the overall impact, but when you think about the last month or the last 2 weeks, it's similar, but it's different. The biggest impact I think we've seen is that the projects that normally would have started in the last 10 weeks didn't. So our pipeline looks really different, and the way that we're seeing projects come into our stores is really different. And of course, now we're contending with unrest, protests, all the riots and things in our communities, which is a whole different ballgame. I mean, it's an emotional challenge, it's a different physical challenge, it's a different economic challenge, but it's just kind of another thing we certainly need to manage. So for us, our stores have been open. We've been open all along. We made the decision to keep people working and keep serving our customers with our stores open. So every store has been different though. As the situation's evolved, every customer is different, every employee is different, every store is different. And the biggest thing that we've really learned, and I think that we've continued to do, is that we can't manage each situation the same. We can't just issue a blanket policy and that's going to work for all of our stores. It really, we need to learn how to address individual situations as much as we can.
Jeff?
Very, very similar, differently in that we did close. In Michigan and Pennsylvania, we closed our showrooms completely because there was no construction activity in those states. They had shut those states down. In Illinois, we closed our showrooms. We did not allow any customers to come in up until last week was the first week that we opened up for appointments to come back in, and they're different. The people coming in are coming in. First of all, they're much more serious about coming in to buy, not coming in to browse. They don't want to be in an unsafe environment. So we've gone to an extreme to make our showrooms feel and look and actually be very safe. Of course, for our employees first, but also so that the customers feel comfortable.
What are your Jeff, I'll start with you. What are your customers telling you about their businesses, contractors, designers, architects, et cetera? What are you hearing from customers?
So they're all navigating different states of reopening, one depending upon where the market is. Some of the designers and stuff have been working out of their homes the whole time. Then we have the issue of remodeling contractors who have work that they want to do, have customers who want them to do it, but they don't want them in their home yet. And so everybody feels like there's a lot of demand. All the customers are telling us that they have a lot of work lined up. It's just a question of when they're going to be allowed to do it.
Yeah, I would say something really similar, that it so much just depends on the local and state jurisdictions. You know, in some jurisdictions, they've just restarted permit review. Some review hasn't changed throughout the whole thing, so projects have been able to continue. So it's a mix of what's being allowed in each place. So our customers have had to respond to that, and we've had to kind of be ready to service them depending on what was happening and how things were changing. So just like Jeff said, for some service contractors, people aren't ready to have them in their homes, but then in some places, it's no problem. It's just like normal. So it really is a mix. And for homeowners, some people are waiting to see what the financial future is going to hold. Some people are investing in their homes on the other end of the spectrum. Some people are diverting travel or vacation funds now into their homes. Some people are just nesting. There's this nesting phenomenon that's going on. So we've seen a little bit on the cancellations front and some things on indefinite hold, but it just kind of keeps moving forward. And our customers, to have just as much uncertainty as we do. They're trying to navigate the government programs. They're trying to navigate what's going on in each place, and they don't know what to expect either. So we're trying to create a bit of stability for them so that we can be a partner to them in figuring out what's next. I mean, it's not like we have the answers, but what can we do to help be there for them?
Are there certain segments of the business segments of the industry that may have helped you out more than others during the pandemic? What's kind of been the constant?
So one thing we anticipated on that was that there would be, with people being stuck at home, there would be a big demand for remodeling. That people being home 24/7 in the same kitchens and the same bathrooms, we're going to start saying, you know what, it's time to change. And we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of interest in people wanting to do remodeling projects. The area I think that surprised me the most that is grown very strongly is we sell kitchen cabinets, and the cabinet business has been incredibly strong for the last couple of months. Primarily more new construction than remodeling. And I think it's because the contractors were allowed into the new construction sites, and they were trying to get that work done and get it completed.
Yeah, we saw a lot on the new construction side too, and having that diversity, that kind of the breadth of being able to complete a project for someone. So the fact that we have not only the plumbing side, but we also have the cabinets, like Jeff said, we have countertops, we have lighting, we have tile, we can put a whole package together so they could truly just come one place and do their project with us. That really helped us. It wasn't like tile went through the roof or something or anything like that. It was the fact that we could bundle things together. So our industry's ability to diversify itself, I think, is really important.
Chef mentioned cabinets, kitchen cabinets. Katie, any one product category that kind of shocked you or surprised you?
No, it's really, it's been that diversity piece of it that has the biggest difference, the biggest shock I think we've had is how, again, back to the pipeline, how we're filling it. We don't have a steady stream of people walking in. So I can't pinpoint, one thing that's surprising to me. The biggest surprise has been how we've responded. So we were able to get chat. Chat has blown me away in terms of what we've done with that. It was something that we kind of said, well, that'd be nice to experiment with. If I would have tried to roll it out the first of the year, people would have said, we don't have time for this. Customers aren't really engaged in it. We're not sure this is really a need. Whereas we, in the last 45 days, have had 150 chats of people who just want to reach out, and they want to do it in such a different way. So the thing that's probably surprised me the most has been our ability to respond to just a different stream of inquiries to the business.
Now, was that an organic customers just kind of migrating to or did you kind of roll that out during the pandemic as an option to connect with First Supply folks?
We rolled it out during the pandemic. So it was something, again, that we kind of had, like, maybe it's an 18-month project plan. Everybody kind of talks about these new types of things that are coming out as options, as add-ons to our website, and how we're engaging with people differently, especially consumers. But we have available for both consumers and the trades. But it was something that we decided to take an 18-month project and make it happen in about 8 days.
How do you think, Jeff, how do you think the showroom business is going to change as a result of the pandemic coming out of it? And what have you kind of lessons learned from the past couple months?
Well, I think that you're going to have consumers who are, we've seen this going on for a long time now. Consumers are coming in far more educated about product categories and product information. And so they're going to come in with a lot of knowledge and a lot of preparation, which means that our people, we need to make sure that they truly are the experts in their field and that they are a source of answers for the consumer, because as much information as the consumers come in with, they still don't know how to put it all together, and they need help making that happen. And so, but because they're spending a lot more time online, they're able to gather in a lot more information, but it becomes confusing to them. So I think we're going to see more and more of that. And we're also going to see a lot more. So we started doing some virtual appointments while our showrooms were closed, and they work okay. It's not the same as coming in, but I mean, it gets some stuff done. But I could see that we're going to be using a lot more of that on follow-up after the customer's been in. We're going to be doing a lot more virtual meetings with those customers. Instead of them coming in a second time and a third time, they've already looked at the product. Now they're just going to get online, and we're going to just work it through that way.
What'd you learn, Katie?
I think not dissimilar to Jeff, the virtual appointments and all these different ways we have to meet the customer where they are. But our customers, we actually had a pretty robust conversation about this in a recent AD Decorative Brands meeting, but our customers are living in their homes differently today than they were 22 weeks ago when all of this started. We've got multi-generational families needing a place to gather in a different way than they used to. It's not necessarily safe for someone to go on vacation with their grandparents, so they want to find a way that they can have that happen at home. People have older children home from college for who knows how long living with them now, and so their spaces become different, and they need to adapt it. They want to adapt it because they still want that space to be really functional for them. Small children are now at home all day, every day. The water usage has gone up. Just all of these types of things, how people are living in their homes so differently, and our products and our services and our ability to design those spaces and retrofit them for them is huge. People don't really know where to start. They don't know how to fix their space, and we should be a huge key for them going forward.
One thing we've talked a lot about the last couple of months is, we can sit on these interviews and talk about, what percentage your sales are up or down, and products and shipping, et cetera. But there's employees and team members that are behind all of these companies in our industry. They're people that are living this, just the same way, and they have fears and concerns. There's a lot of emotional and mental stuff that has to go into consideration. What have you learned, the last couple of months about your employees and and being mindful of that during what's undoubtedly going to be we hope a once in a lifetime event here?
Well, one of the things I was sort of surprised about was, so I've always felt safe coming into the office. I've always felt it's a pretty safe place, but we learned that it was really very, very important. And our first priority was making sure that the employees who came to work, and we had everybody coming in except for some corporate office people who work from home, making sure that they felt, and it truly was a very safe place for them. So we put in procedures and supplies and all the things to make that happen. And you could see in the first couple of weeks of it, boy, if somebody tried to come into the building, everybody got very nervous in any of the buildings. And then people started getting used to having a very safe process and got very comfortable about being at work. So that now, as we're introducing and allowing customers to gradually come back into the building, we're doing it under very controlled circumstances, very controlled procedures, so that safety of our employee is not at risk. And I can tell by the way our employees are reacting to what they've done that this has helped them a lot. They felt comfortable about coming to work. They felt good about being at their branch every day, and I thought that was a big plus.
Okay.
Yeah, Absolutely. I think that we really had to confront all of the things that you said, Mike. You know, this is scary, this is hard, this is something we've never had to deal with before. And by just saying, this is crazy, and confronting that, we could figure out how to move forward a lot faster, and we could get to, like Jeff said, okay, now we're going to react, we're going to respond. And a little like each of our stores and each of our customers being different, each of our people is different. You know, everybody has a different lens that they're living this through. You know, somebody may have one living situation completely different than another, may have an underlying condition that's completely different than another. And those aren't necessarily things we always knew or talked about or shared with each other, and we didn't need to. And we still don't need to, but we just need to be able to respect that they exist and figure out how we can collectively work through this really together. We can't underestimate the individuality of the situation happening to us, so that we can work as a team to get through it successfully. And kind of once we could break down those barriers and understand, okay, we're all going through something, then we could come back together and do it.
You got to put on your prognostication hat. Where do you see the showroom business? How long before a measurable or significant return to recovery, back to normal, and what factors are going to be needed to make that happen?
Well, I think it's measurable now. I mean, we're seeing significant improvement already from where we were at the truly the bottom in late March, early April. But as far as full recovery, you know, I don't think we're going to see a true full recovery until sometime mid next year, where it's a full recovery and we're looking at it and saying, okay, everything's the way it needs to be. There are projects that are getting delayed. There are still some things that are getting canceled. And the fact is while we had our showrooms pretty much locked up and closed for 10 weeks, we weren't filling the pipeline. So although there's stuff in the pipeline now that is going to, you know, make for, you know, the rest of the year should be okay, there's going to be a gap there because we haven't been able to drive that future business the way we normally would be doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need the economy to make a true pivot. You know, we need consumers confident. We need people spending money on everything. We need them spending money on not only their homes, but on restaurants and all those other things that keep the economy churning. We need kids in school. You know, we need everything from daycares to colleges to be working in order for people to really get back to their comfort levels and things. But so I think we'll know a lot more in the fall when we start to see the dominoes fall that way. But to Jeff's point, I mean, we are recovering now. You know, we've continued to be an important part of keeping our community safe. You know, what we do keeps our homes safe. What we do delivers safe water to our communities, and that's not going to change. That's always going to be important. Sometimes we're not always given credit as an industry for all of that important work that we do, but we'll continue to evolve. I think this has been a huge learning curve for all of us, and we'll continue to keep learning through it. And, you know, as Jeff mentioned, virtual appointments, I mentioned click chat, you know, we're doing new things, and it's making our industry better for it. So I think we will have a full recovery. It's going to take some time, but over this fall, we'll start to see it. And I think by next year, we'll be really happy with where we've come.
Katie and Jeff, I thank you for your time today. A couple of heavy hitters in the showroom industry, run great showroom arms of their businesses, and great insights on where the showroom part of our industry is headed coming out of this pandemic. And that's a great magazine cover in the background, Katie.
I wonder who took it. Do I need to give you some credit?
I do remember it was cold that day.
Oh my gosh. Good Chicago day, Jeff. It was a good Chicago day.
In January. Next week from ASA, a real treat. The head of National Association of Home Builders, Jerry Howard, will be with me, answering member questions. And Dr. Chris Keel will be back middle of the month with another ASA Economic Impact webinar. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.